All right, let's talk about one of the biggest time sinks out there, writing UI tests from scratch. If you're still spending hours, typing them out line by painful line, you are going to love what I'm about to show you. We're diving into a tool that's going to completely change how you work, Playwright Codegen. I mean, for real, are you still manually typing out every click, every input, and then spending forever guessing at the right CSS selector? Look, we've all been there. It's tedious, it's slow, and honestly, it's a recipe for tests that break the moment anything changes. But what if there was a way to automate the automation itself? Let's just break this down. Over on the left, you see the pain. Hours of just tedious typing, guessing at selectors that are going to break next week. It's slow, it's manual, it's just begging for errors. Now, look at the right. That's where we want to be. We're talking minutes, not hours. We're talking about auto-generated, rock-solid locators. The whole process becomes fast, automated, and robust. This isn't just a small improvement, you guys. This is a complete revolution for your workflow. So how do we make that leap from the manual grind to, automated bliss? Well, let me introduce you to your new best friend, your test copilot, Playwright Codegen. Seriously, think of it as this expert assistant that just watches what you do and handles all the heavy lifting for you. This quote absolutely nails it. Imagine you're just clicking through your app, doing your thing, and there's a shorthand writer looking over your shoulder, instantly turning every single action into perfect, clean code. That is exactly what Codegen does. And here's the best part. Codegen is a built-in Playwright tool. This isn't some third-party thing you have to go install and configure. It comes right out of the box, ready to go. It just watches you use a website and translates your actions directly into a test script you can use right away. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Codegen isn't just some dumb macro recorder that's blindly copying what you do. No. It actively thinks about how to write the best, most stable code for that interaction, and it all comes down to one absolutely critical concept. And that concept is resilient locators. So instead of grabbing these super fragile selectors that are tied to the code structure, Codegen prefers to find elements the way a human would, right? It looks for a button with the text login or an input field with a placeholder enter your email. These are things that rarely change, which means your tests won't break every single time the front-end team decides to refactor a component. All right, enough talk. Let's see this thing in action. I'm going to show you just how ridiculously simple it is to go from clicking around on a web page to having a fully functional test script ready to go. It really is this easy. It's just 3 steps. You launch it, you do the things you want to test, and you copy the code. That's it. Let's walk through it. Step 1, you just pop open your terminal. All you have to do is type Playwright Codegen and then the URL of the site you're testing. That's it. No complicated setup, no config files to mess with, just one line. The second you hit enter on that command, bam, 2 windows pop up. One is a clean browser window pointing right to your site, and the other one, that's the Playwright Inspector. This inspector window is your command center. It's where all the magic happens. Now, this is the really cool part. As you start clicking around in a browser, clicking buttons, filling out forms, you will see perfectly formatted Playwright code just appear line by line live inside that inspector window. It is literally writing the test for you as you do it. And just look at the quality of the code it's writing. When you click that login button, it doesn't spit out some long, fragile CSS path. Nope. It generates page.getByRole button, name login. That is beautiful. It's resilient, it's human-readable. It finds the button the exact same way a user would, by its role and the text on it. This is what we mean by smart code. So, as you can see, getting started with Codegen is incredibly easy. But there's a difference between just using it and truly mastering it to write professional-grade tests. And that means knowing what not to do and learning a few pro-level tricks. Okay, it's really easy to fall into these traps when you first start. Number 1 rookie mistake, just trusting the generated code blindly. It's an amazing starting point, but you should always review it. 2, remember that Codegen is for user interactions. Don't try to use it to generate complex stuff like loops or if statements. And finally, always double-check that the locators it picked are actually unique on the page. Sometimes it needs a little nudge in the right direction. All right, but now for the good stuff. Let's talk about what the top 1% of QA engineers do. How do they take this tool from just a time saver to an absolute quality multiplier? These are the tips that separate the good tests from the truly great ones. So here's the secret. The pros, they use Codegen for scaffolding. They let it generate the skeleton of the test, and then they go in and refine it, adding assertions, organizing the code, making it their own. They also master the pick locator feature. This lets you pause everything and explore different locator options for an element, so you're in total control. And the ultimate power move? You can live edit the locators right there in the inspector and watch them highlight in the browser in real time. This guarantees you've picked the perfect, unique selector before you even copy the code. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here, from the absolute basics all the way to some pro-level techniques. Let's just boil it all down to the key things you really need to remember. So, why does this change everything? First, speed. You can scaffold a brand new test in the time it takes you to just click through the user flow. It's insane. Second, resilience. You're building tests that are just fundamentally more stable because they're based on how a real user sees the page. And finally, and this is a big one, learning. This is an amazing tool for just getting better at Playwright. Watch the code it generates, and you'll absorb best practices without even trying. And I'm serious about this. If you master this one tool, you are putting yourself ahead of probably 80% of other engineers in the field. So many people are still stuck doing things the old way. This isn't just about writing tests faster. It's about writing them smarter. It's about positioning yourself as a true automation expert. So I'll just leave you with this question. Think about that one user journey in your app. You know the one you've been putting off automating because it just seemed too complex or time-consuming. Well, now that you know you can generate the foundation of that test in just a few minutes, what are you going to automate first?